Good morning, everybody. Dylan K. Johnson here. Welcome back to a new video. Today is going to be a very special video because we are going to be doing a garage gym tour. So yeah, nothing too fancy. We're just going to be going through everything that I have. Going to try and keep it kind of high level, not go into detail on a lot of stuff just because there's so much stuff in here and I'd spend probably 2-3 hours talking about all of it if I really went through every single piece. But if there is anything that I glance over or that I don't touch on that you want to know more about, let me know down below in the comment section and I will try to get back to you guys as much as I can. So yeah, without further ado, let's just kind of do a quick walk around so you can see the entire setup here. While I do this walk around, something that's actually really cool that I want to borrow my wife's phone when she gets home and show you guys this whole setup that I've got going on here. Because right now I am solo mio, solo dio. I don't know. I don't speak Spanish, so sorry if I offended anybody. But I am filming all of this on my own. And as you can see, the camera is following me around the entire gym. We just did a full 360 around the gym, and this guy is tracking my movements everywhere I go. I'm over here now. Now I'm over here. Oh, so yeah, this is really cool. I really like this setup. This might be something that I'm going to be using more often for lots of different types of videos. But basically, I've got my camera on a DJI Ronin S gimbal. I've had that for a few years now, like 4 or 5 years. And then mounted on top of it is my phone, and I'm using their active track system to follow me around the gym. Kind of creepy in a technologically kind of way, but it is freaking cool. So anyway, now that I've kind of nerded out, geeked out over that, let's start the tour off in this corner with one of my favorite pieces in the gym, the wall control panels. Hopefully you can kind of see it behind me here. If I can, I'll throw B-roll up, but gonna again try and keep this thing as quick and to the point as possible. So wall control panels. I started out a long time ago with like 2 panels mounted to the inside of one of my functional trainers. And as you can see, it has just kind of grown exponentially. I now have 6 panels almost covering an entire length of one wall. And I could honestly do with like another 2 to 4 panels just to hold all the extra crap that I have around the gym that's just in random places. But these wall control panels are amazing. I do actually have a 10% discount code using code dkj10, and it'll be linked down below in the description. Any affiliate codes that I have for just about everything in the gym will be in a link down below in the description over my website. And yeah, if you guys want to pick up anything, you could use those links. Help support me, help support the channel. You know the drill. Definitely just kind of have to plug that, just helps me out. But I'm not going to push it too much. So as I was saying, wall control panels, these things are amazing. One of the reasons that I love them so much is because they take all of these different accessories and attachments and not only display them in a very cool and kind of almost unique way, because you can organize this however you like, however fits your desire best, but it takes all those attachments and it gets them off the ground. And what that does is it just opens up a lot of space in the gym so that you can add more stuff. And that's always a good thing. Maybe not for our wallets, but it's a good thing in my heart, which is the most important part. Yeah, so quickly touching over everything on here. We've got just some knockoff mag grip handles. These I believe were from Walmart, like 120 bucks for 5 different sets of them. Only really use like 2 of them, honestly, but I don't need the extra, well, I do need the extra space, but I like the way they look, so I don't get rid of the extra ones. Then we've got a few actual mag grip handles. I really like those, but they are so expensive that it's kind of hard to justify getting a lot of them when you can pick up like an entire set for the price of one. So it's one of those things where it's just, I don't know. It's kind of gray area on morality, I guess you could say. In general, though, I do prefer to support the originals wherever possible. But a big thing with these knockoff handles, I honestly actually like the grips on these a little bit better than the mag grips, because you can maybe tell, but with all of them, they have kind of this rounded edge, which I find just allows me to hold on to them a little bit better. They feel nicer in my hands versus the traditional mags. And yeah, I don't know, there's just a little spiel on them. Moving on from there, we've got a bunch of different random cable accessories: easy curl bar, straight bar, V-bar, close grip handles, a bunch of different cable handles, cable ropes, ankle wraps or ankle straps, belt squat belt. What are these? The Rogue like change plate adder weights, I think is what they are. I can't remember exactly what they're called. But something else up here, the Prime rotate handles. Really love these for like flying movements. Not a huge fan of them for pulling movements as much, but for flying movements, those things are amazing. I do actually also have a discount code for Prime. dkj.fit saves you 5% off on Prime fitness gear. I'm just joking. I'm not joking about the discount code. I do actually have that. I think I've only seen like 2 other people that actually have a Prime discount code. But getting on from there, moving down onto our Titan Fitness 6-bar gun rack. This one is just kind of shoved out of the way. It's got a lot of bars that I really don't use very often, if at all. So at the very bottom, I don't know how well or if you can see it down there, is a Titan Fitness angled multi-grip bar. Just a standard bar, no camber or anything like that. I think I got it on sale for like $50, which is why I have it, why I haven't sold it. It's just tucked out of the way. Maybe one day I'll use it. Maybe one day I'll get rid of it. I don't know. Above that, I've got my DIY PVC earthquake style bar. Done a video on how to build that for like $40-50 nowadays. I think the price has gone up on the materials a little bit. And then above that, a Rogue Fitness grab bag bar, which is actually a Bella bar, bare steel, nothing fancy, just kind of a beater bar. And then on the very top here is my Bandbell Rhinoflex HD bar. I use that one from time to time. Really like this bar. Not a big fan of the company itself. I've had some really bad experience with, I'm not going to get into a lot of details of it. Just safe to say, suffice it to say that I like their products. I don't like the company and the owner specifically. Myself and a few other people have had some very bad experiences with them in particular, which has led me to no longer be supporting them financially unless I can find a bar used. So yeah, they make great products, but it's just, I'm not a big fan of the company. Anyway, in front of that rack, we have our Rep Fitness trap bar, the open trap bar. This is currently just a glorified belt hanger. All of our various belts, my 2, my wife's 3, plus she has another one in her gym bag inside. Yeah, she's got a little bit of a problem when it comes to gym belts. I do kind of want to get another one for myself, but for now, I've got my old Reliable here. If you guys know what this is from, come back. Did you lose my tracking? Hello? Come back here. There you go. If you guys know what this is from, you may recognize Police Public Call Box, TARDIS, if that means anything to any of you out there, Doctor Who fans. But no, my old Reliable Inzer single prong forever lever belt, 10 millimeter, and then my custom Pioneer belt that I got last Black Friday sale, I believe it is what it was, with my own custom branding on the front, custom saying inside, white alligator crocodile. I can't remember exactly what it is. No, it's not faux. It's not fake. It's real crocodile, and then snakeskin interior on the cutouts. Single prong. I personally have never liked lever belts. I've tried them a few times. I hate the way they feel, that extra bit of fabric that gets clamped underneath the lever. I can't stand it, so I've never been a fan of lever belts. Never had an issue with single prongs. I do kind of really want to get another belt, just a thicker belt, because I've got the Pioneer, which was supposed to be 10 millimeter, but because of the thickness of the custom materials, it's more like a 6.5, 7 millimeter, so it's a fairly thin belt. And I have my 10 millimeter on the Inzer. I would like to get a 13 someday. We'll see. Not high on my priority list, but in the future, hopefully. What else have we got over here? Oh, cardio pieces, everybody's favorite. Assault Fitness bike, their assault bike. It's okay in terms, I mean, it's a great piece, don't get me wrong. The quality on it's amazing. The wind guard was a pain in the patushki to install. I freaking hate that thing. It took me like an hour just to get that damn thing installed because of how it mounts on there. But the bike itself is great. Really nice for kind of either high intensity interval training, or even low intensity steady state is not horrible when you want something that's very low impact. My wife uses that a lot more than I do, but it takes up not a lot of space, so it is what it is. It actually came we got it during a Black Friday sale 2 years ago. 2 years ago, yeah. Where it was packaged with the Assault Runner Elite, whatever their top assault runner is that we have inside. But moving on, again, I could spend like friggin' half hour just in this corner alone. There's so much stuff. So if there's anything you want to know about any of this, let me know in the comments. I went into a decent amount of detail, but I did kind of glance over a lot of it. Coming over here, we have a few things. First off, another Titan Fitness piece. It is let me drop down here so you can see. Maybe the camera will follow me down. There we go. Yeah, Titan Fitness 9-bar vertical storage unit. And in this, let's see if I can rattle off all these bars. Starting in the back, we have a Kabuki Strength, or I guess now they're technically Kabuki Power after the rebrand, but a Kabuki PR deadlift bar, Rogue Fitness Ohio Power Bar, stainless steel with their matte black sleeves, not Strong Arm. I don't remember the company, but a Nexo 5-pound kids bar. Then again in the back, Kabuki Cadillac bar. Then we have a Rogue Boneyard deadlift bar, their Ohio deadlift bar. Do need to get rid of that guy with the Elite FTS shoulder saver on it. Just keep it out of the way. In front, we have a Bells of Steel SS3 safety squat bar. And then again, coming in from the back, we have a Rogue Fitness camber bar. Then we have the Kabuki Duffalo, and finally an Elite FTS American camber bar with the angled grips. So yeah, that's all of the 9 bars that I have in here. These are the bars that I kind of use the most. Well, I shouldn't say use the most. I use pretty much every bar in this gym. Just about everything in this gym gets used on a fairly regular basis by myself or my wife. That's kind of a big stipulation with whatever we end up having in the gym, is it has to be of value to us and it has to be used regularly. Otherwise we sell it and we don't keep anything that we don't use, essentially. Because we are so limited on space, that's kind of the entire principle behind all the equipment that you'll see, is it has to have some use to us or be useful in some way, or just have very minimal storage needs to warrant us keeping it if we've purchased it. So yeah, moving on from there, this piece right here in front of me is a Cybex military press bench. Nothing fancy. Again, try and come down here so you can see it. Got this guy used for like 50 bucks. Gets the job done. I had been looking all over Marketplace for like a year trying to find one that wasn't like $400 or $500. These things are insane, the price that people or that companies charge for them, considering what they are. But yeah, got this one for like 50 bucks. Might end up replacing it soon with the Prime Shorty bench. We'll see. For now though, it does the job for whenever we need that style of bench. Lots of different banners throughout the gym. But coming over here, this is one of my DIY dumbbell storage solutions. Just, what are these? Garage hooks? I can't remember. I'd have to look it up. I don't remember offhand what they are exactly. I'll do a full video on this. I did a video on my sliding dumbbell shelves already, but I haven't yet done a video on this guy just because I wasn't sure if I would like it, if it would be really durable, if it would hold up to use over time. And it's held up really well. It's got some cons to it, but overall it's a great cheap, relatively cheap solution to get dumbbells up on the wall and off the ground. So yeah, that's my DIY dumbbell solution, storage solution. Below that, I've got a different random range or assortment of kettlebells, some slam balls, and then we come over to my actual dumbbell rack, which, there you go, squat down so you can see it behind me here. So yeah, this is one of my favorite pieces in the gym. It is a 5 to 100 pound set of Troy rubber coated pro style dumbbells. I got them for just under $1 a pound with 2 of these racks. I've got one currently dismantled and just kind of tucked behind this and everything, in case I end up using it in the future. We'll see. I might end up selling it just because I don't see us using it anytime soon. And space, as I said, is pretty key here. But no, this is one of my favorite pieces in the gym. They get a good amount of use. And below it is my DIY sliding shelves. So again, I've done a video on these. Just a great way to add storage space, or what's the word I'm looking for? To optimize storage space in the gym. Yeah, it just holds all of my heavier sets on the ground. When I don't want to, or when I need them, it just slides right on out. I can get the dumbbells and it just slides right on back. So yeah, that is my dumbbells. Again, one of my favorite pieces in the gym. Coming over here, we're gonna get into a little bit more of the commercial gear side of things. But right here, we have the hoist hoist seated curl and leg extension combo unit. This is a commercial piece. I got this used off Facebook. I think it was like $17.50, not including delivery. And yeah, love this piece. It is very compact in terms of the footprint, a little bit long just because of the stack being behind it, but it is very narrow. It's like less than 3 feet wide overall. So it is a very, very space efficient piece. I'm really happy to have this guy. I really like it. The stack is a little bit light. I have been able to more than max out the stack for seated leg curls, but luckily I have, somewhere in here, there it is, I've got a gym pin. So whenever I want to go really heavy, I just take this guy, throw it in the stack, and I throw on 25, 45, whatever, however many pounds I need in order to add some additional weight to it. So yeah, that is one of my bigger pieces in the gym. I've got a whole bunch of different different bands, some hip bands, all kinds of different just little things kind of on a rogue belt and band hanger back here against the wall. And then behind me, if I can get out from around here. Now over here in this corner of the gym, we have a couple things. First, we have my kind of makeshift DIY lateral raise device. This has gone through quite a few different iterations. On the front of it is the, Exponent Edge Infinity Arm. And I've just got this guy. It's just a whole bunch of random hobbled together pieces from a bunch of different companies. I don't even know if some of these companies are even around anymore, specifically CFT Fitness or CFT Performance, I guess is what they're called. I don't know if they even are around or making gym equipment anymore. But I really like this piece for what it is. Gets the job done really well. And with this latest iteration, it's really nice. It's as close as I can get to like a cable-driven version of this type of machine. Fairly compact. I wish that it was like quick attach, quick release, so that I could just kind of pull it off, throw it on my actual racks, and then just keep it somewhere out of the way. But for what it is, it gets the job done. Really like it. The Infinity Arm is a new addition. Really like this guy. It's extremely versatile. I don't have a lot of stuff with it right now programmed into my training, so it just kind of lives right here, set up with this configuration. But it does a ton of different stuff. There's so many different adjustment points. This pad is completely rotatable, like 180 degrees. You can go through all these different adjustment points down here on it. Hopefully you can see that. There's all these different adjustment points that you can pin it to change up the angle for chest supported rows, I've used it for tricep extensions using my rack with my Aries system, dumbbell preacher curls. I have all kinds of crazy stuff. You can use it for a seat, for lat pull downs. The possibilities are infinite. The infinity arm. I don't know. I'm running off of so much caffeine that you could kill a small child from it. So anyway, into this back corner, I guess with this whole infinity arm lateral raise thingamabob, it is attached to the extra pieces from my drop-in or from my standalone Rhino. So I got a Rogue Fitness Rhino belt squat, and I got the standalone version with the full intention of actually dropping it in, but the price difference between a drop-in versus a standalone was like $150, $200. So for the extra cross members and everything, I figured, if I ever want to sell it, I can sell it as a standalone, or I can sell it as a drop-in. Whatever I want if that time were to come. But for now, it's just kind of used to hold my extra plates for the leg press. And this guy is another very cool piece in the gym. I don't know how well you can see it. Maybe if I move the camera one more time. But this guy is a very cool piece. It is the Cybex old school 45-degree leg press. Let me get over here so maybe the camera will focus on it. There we go. Woo! This whole automated gimbal thing is a little touchy, a little glitchy, but we'll see when the footage how it actually looks. But no, this guy I got used for like $250. Great piece. It is probably one of the most compact commercial leg presses on the market, and I love it. It is a fantastic piece. And there are certain people out there, such as, who is it? Chris Bumstead has one in his personal gym. Who else is it? I can't think of their names right now. It is an amazing piece. The only thing is, honestly, we just don't use it, especially now with the belt squat. It just really doesn't get used, and it takes up such a large footprint in the gym. It takes up almost a 4x8, 5x8 corner of the entire gym. So we are actually, unfortunately, looking to sell it. And yeah, it's just kind of one of those things where I really wish we had extra space so that I didn't have to get rid of it. But with the amount of use, like I said earlier, if something isn't getting used on a regular basis, which this guy really isn't getting used that much, not for the amount of space that it takes up, then it's just kind of not worth it for us to keep. So especially now that we have the belt squat, in my opinion and in my experience, belt squats and leg presses are very similar in terms of the muscle engagement and activation. Leg press is going to be a little bit more isolation of the legs, just because you're really locked into it, you're seated and you're only driving through the legs, the hips, versus a belt squat can be a little bit more full body compound-ish, depending on how you're using your arms. But for our purposes, for our needs, for our use case, it just is gonna go. We are looking to replace it with a pendulum. I've actually got some plans drawn up right now for a DIY pendulum that I want to maybe look at once we get rid of this. But the ideal circumstance would be to replace it with either a used Atlantis pendulum or possibly look at the Prime Fitness pendulum, their new one that they haven't really even released yet. I've seen it teased a few times. A couple people have had like their prototype versions. And then also the Predator Strength pendulum squat. That's probably one. The Prime or the Predator are like the two that I'm keeping my eyes on in terms of what I would ideally like to have. But for now, like I said, that is what it is. Now I got to be able to stand up here. I guess before I stand up, over here, I've got 3 different sandbags from Bells of Steel, 50, 100, 150 pound strongman sandbags. Just picked those up actually like a couple weeks ago, and I've started incorporating them more into my training just because I want to do more like functional stuff. So like sandbag carries, sandbag to shoulder pressing, throws, that kind of stuff. Just more like functional movements, and I've been loving it. I used to have a couple of Rogue Fitness sandbags. I had a 100-pound, and I believe it was at 150. And I love those, but I ended up I sold them during like 2020 COVID stuff just because I didn't really use them. Again, going back to that whole thing of if it doesn't get used, it goes. And that's probably one of the only items I've ever sold from the gym that I regret selling, were those sandbags, because there's been a lot of times like now when I kind of wish that I still had them. But that's okay. The Bells of Steel ones were pretty cheap, and the quality on them is great. They're pretty much in line with the Rogue bags that I had a few years back, so I have no complaints from those. I really like them. Now let's stand up if I can. Into this corner over here, we have another Cybex piece. This is a Cybex 45 degree hyperextension. This was another piece that I've been looking for a long time. Finally found this one used on Facebook for like 50, 100 bucks. I don't remember exactly. Cheap, hell of a lot cheaper than what they cost new, like 700, 800 bucks. Friggin' insane for one of these things. And it just happened to be in my favorite kind of color scheme, black and white. So really like that. Win-win. But no, this is an awesome piece. This is something that we will be holding on to for a very long time, just because of how versatile it is. Between my wife and myself, this gets used multiple times a week, whether it's for legs, lower back, core, whatever it may be. I absolutely love this thing. And the nice thing about it too is it's a heavy duty commercial piece. So I've been able to do like upwards of 185 to 225 pound hyperextensions on this. And it doesn't budge. So I love this guy. One of the best finds, in my opinion, that I have found on Marketplace. Then down here, without falling over, we have our speaker system, trophies, all kinds of stuff, odds and ends, different nuts and bolts with everything that I've had in the gym and all that stuff. I have got boxes of extra 5/8 inch and 1 inch hardware, both standard and metric. So yeah, I've got boxes and boxes of extra bolts, but there's no reason to get rid of them because there's a lot of times when I will still need them. So they just stay in a box, they're out of the way. Now, getting into one of the larger pieces in the gym, this is our Bells of Steel Hydro Rack with the Rogue Fitness Rhino dropped in. You can see it's also kind of our catch-all for all of our different random accessories and attachments. I've got the spot grips in here hanging up. I've got all my different J-cups on here, minus my, what are they, the monoliths that get used over there. We've got another bar up here. This is my wife's pink Rogue Bella bar. Some pink plates for her from Fringe Sport. We've got a few Bells of Steel Mighty Grip plates, I believe is what they're called, on the back here. Just all kinds of different crap. This is kind of like our catch-all, like I said, extra rack. But no, this has the Rogue Fitness belt squat dropped into it. And like I said, it is the Bells of Steel Hydra Rack, which is actually a 5/8 inch rack. True 3x3. All of Bells of Steel's new Hydra and their Manticore, I believe, is the 1 inch line's name. But basically all of their newer racks, there are true 3x3. So they're supposed to line up with Rogue. They're basically just exact clones of their Monster Light and their Monster series, which, for those of you that don't know, even though they don't state it on the website, the Rhino can be used on Monster Light racks without modification. Zero modification needed. The Rhino is able to be dropped in onto either the Bells of Steel Hydra or a Rogue Monster Light series rack without any issue. There's been a few other cases of people who have done it. There's even been a few cases of people who have done it to Rep Fitness PR 4000 series and 5000 series racks, which I believe for the 4000 series on the Rep Fitness side, they might have needed to do a couple modifications. I'm not positive on that one. Don't quote me there, but I know I've seen it. So yeah, that is what I have here. Love the belt squat. It is, again, one of the more used pieces in the gym, part of why we are getting rid of the leg press. Moving on from there, I don't think there's anything else to really cover there. I guess, I don't know how well you can see it, but back here, up on top, stored out of the way, is the Rogue Fitness Monster Light hip thrust pad. They're like bench pad that goes across and you lock it in. Probably the only thing that I've ever actually like regretted purchasing, and it's hard to say regret because it does have its uses. You just kind of have to find them and you have to be really creative with how you use it. But with it, it's probably one of those things where, and a lot of people say it all the time, if you look at all the reviews, it has very, very poor reviews. It is not something I would recommend unless you have a very specific use case in mind ahead of time. And I would actually personally go for, now they have their roller pad instead of the flat one that's kind of round. I believe it was developed in conjunction with, I don't know his name, but his Instagram handle is ProTim on Instagram. He worked with Rogue to develop a round pad that spans across their racks. I don't know if it's in Monster Light yet, but it is for their Monster. I would personally, if you're looking at something like that, go with that one instead of the hip thrust pad. That thing is a pain in the butt to attach to the rack. I believe the Monster series is actually a little bit better because it has, similar to like safety arms, it has a pin that you slide in order to kind of get it in place and then you can secure it. That one does not, so you have to kind of either like finagle with a band peg to hold it in place from underneath, set it on top and then pin it, or you just kind of have to like hold it in place while you find the hole and pin it from the side, from the back, whatever it may be. It's just a pain in the butt to use. So it very rarely gets used unless I have a very specific use case in mind. So it's something, again, one of those things I would just kind of, I would pass on if you are in the market for it or if you're considering it, at least for the Monster Light version. The Monster version, on the other hand, might be a different story. But anyway, going on from there, I don't know if you can see me very well, if it's tracking me still, but we are in probably what most people would consider to be the focal point of the gym. It certainly is, in my opinion. I mean, it's probably the biggest piece in here. It is my main rack. So this is the Rep Fitness PR 4000 series power rack, 6-post, 41-inch depth with the weight storage attachment and with their Aries 1.0. I also on here have the front foot accessory. I have the Darko anchors up top. I've got a couple of extra accessories all over the place. And I have my Rogue Fitness lever arms with the, the Vendetta strength adapters. So these are the 1.0 arms with the adapters on there, mounted to the same column or same upright as the Aries cable trolley. If you guys have been following me at all for any period of time, you know how much I love these guys. I've done a little review on them in the past, but I need to do an updated one now that I've had the Vendettas for about a year, a little over a year now, and I put them through their paces, done a lot of stuff with them. I still have some things that I want to change in terms of this whole setup that I use on a regular basis, but for now, I've kind of got a very solid system in place that I use multiple times a week. For me personally, my use case and how I use them, I freaking love these lever arms. A lot of people hate them. A lot of people say that they are one of the worst pieces of equipment that you could get for a gym. I completely disagree. If I were to redo everything from the gym, the first piece of equipment that I would get is this entire rack setup that I have here. The Aries 1.0, probably 2.0, Aries 1.0. There's some modifications that have been made to the 2.0 that I don't know if it'll work with lever arms or not, at least my setup, which I'll talk on in another video probably. But Aries 1.0, PR 4000 series rack, not a fan of the 5000 series, the 1-inch holes. I still like the 5/8 inch. I like the extra adjustability of it. Lever arms, Vendetta adapters, whole 9 yards. If I were to do anything over again, if I were to start from scratch, this would still be one of my first purchases. It is just so versatile, and it gets so much use from myself and my wife that I absolutely love it. So yeah. What else with this? I think I've talked about them a little bit before, but on the end of my lever arm here, Mutant Metals handles with some weight horns. These are again from CFT Performance, but I don't know if they are still in business. I know that Mutant Metals is working on basically almost an exact replica of what I have here. I don't know if they've released that or not yet. You could probably get it if you were to email them. And then I believe, who else is it? I've seen a couple other companies working on something like that. Rohrman Strength, I think, was one with their handles. I haven't done a lot of research into the Rohrman handles. They look interesting, they look promising, but I'm not quite sure. I'm not fully sold on them yet. At least with my setup. I don't really have a need to get rid of my setup and switch over at this current point in time. For the price of them, that's kind of my thing. They look really promising, but like I said, for my use case currently, I have a setup that works really well, and I don't really want to mess with it that much. In the rack, let's see here. Follow me up here. Let's go on an excursion. Woo! So up here on our Darko anchors, the Darko Lifts anchors, I have our Kabuki transformer bar, some AbMat heavy hangers that just live on that bar pretty much. This is kind of the bar that I use almost exclusively for squats. It's just pretty much since I've got this bar, unless I'm doing something like the garage gym competition, this bar is what gets used almost exclusively by both myself and my wife, really, for any squatting variation, whether it's front squats, back squats, good mornings, I don't know, whatever it may be that involves a barbell and a squat. That's pretty much the only bar that gets used. That's the way it is. It's our favorite bar in the gym for that type of movement. But on from that, we have the Titan Fitness Titan X3 monolifts. I've had these pretty much since the gym started. It was one of my first purchases. I really wanted them, so I got them, and I love them. A lot of people don't like monolifts, but I personally have never had an issue with them. They work amazingly well for squat, bench. Yeah, not too much to say about them. I've pulled them apart and actually spray painted them white. They used to be red, which wherever it's kind of made contact with anything, you can kind of see that peeking through. I didn't do it very well. I just pulled them out, threw them outside, blast them with rattle canned them, and threw them back together once they were dry. But moving on, let's see what else in this rack. We have the Rogue Fitness Monster Light leg rollers. That's what we use for the lat pull down in this rack. We have the Rep Fitness leg roller for their 5/8 inch line, the single one. It's back in the corner over there. Really did not like that one for lat pull downs just because of how much flex it has. You'd basically be completely pinned on one side, and then the other side would be coming up an extra inch, 2 inches even, just especially when you're going really heavy and you've got a lot of load underneath that leg roller. So for our purposes, for lat pull downs, it just did not work, which is where these guys came into play. We have a pair of them, one on each side. They work really well. I have been very tempted in the past year or so to swap out these specific uprights on both sides for their newer 5/8 inch line, their newer 4000 series uprights, specifically because of the side hole pattern. So you may be able to tell with this rack, because it was one of their earlier racks, it was one of their very first versions, it has kind of the more Monster Light hole pattern on the side, so a hole spaced every 5-6 inches essentially, as opposed to the 2-inch spacing on the front of the rack that you have for standard Monster Light, Monster Series line, whatever it may be. That's basically this whole pattern here, versus their newer 5/8 inch has this whole pattern on the sides of the upright as well, which is really nice when it comes to things like this, because this particular leg roller attaches from the side. So I'm a little limited on the height position that I can go to. So it's like there or right about here. So you can see what I kind of mean. Bells of Steel does actually have, again, for their Hydra line, a leg roller that attaches from the front and comes out to the side. So I've been debating switching over to those, but again, because these work and I have no need to switch over, I just haven't. So it's one of those things where it's like, that's another option if I wanted to. But for now, this is getting the job done just fine. Then in the very back of the rack, again, we have our Aries system. This is the 1.0, so the stacks are facing to the sides. I have the shroud removed just because I personally did not like having the shroud there when I was like squatting inside the rack, doing pretty much anything against the back of this rack here. The shroud just felt very claustrophobic, made me feel very claustrophobic. I didn't like my face especially coming that close to a sharp metal edge when I'm squatting. If I were to fail and fall forward by mistake or anything. I also just didn't like the look of the shroud. So took that off. It just sits in the corner. Not getting rid of it just in the unlikely event that we ever sell this for some reason. I want to try and make sure that I have all the pieces to it, but it's pretty much never going back on my rack. Another reason for that, I don't know if you can see it, but on the side of my stacks are decals from Plate Snacks. So custom decals, you guys have seen them in videos before. So I have that on one side. I still, 3 years later, I have not installed it on the other side just because I keep forgetting about it. I've got it tucked away in a cardboard tube over there. I really need to do that. Maybe sometime in the next couple weeks, and I'll do a video on it. But no, I've got the decals on the sides. I've got the other weight increments on the inside there. Yeah, some chains from Titan Fitness, easy straps or easy loaders, whatever you want to call them, from Elite FTS. Just a whole bunch of random different things, bits and bobs. My main plates in the gym, you guys have seen them over on the leg press. You see them back here. They are the Rogue Fitness deep dish plates. I've had those for a couple years now. Really like them, really enjoy them. I've gone through on almost all of them. I think I have maybe like 3 sets left that I haven't painted, but I painted the lettering on them really white. So it just makes the Rogue and the numbering and everything pop really well against the black. I really like it. I've done a video again on that. And yeah, I think that is just about everything in the gym. I guess I didn't touch on what I'm standing on right here. So this is our deadlift platform, and the rack itself is actually also on a platform. If I were to do it again, personally, I would not put my rack on a platform. At least not a platform with a wood center like I have here. It looks great. It's held up decently well over the years. There's some spots on the edges where it's a little chipped here and there, or some divots in it from us dropping random things on it, weights, kettlebells, plates, dumbbells, whatever it may be. There's a few random divots in it. I like the look of the wood, but functionality-wise, and this is an issue that I've had pretty much since day one, it's too slick. You could go through and potentially add like grip tape to it, or like do an epoxy layer with like some sand or grit or something in it. But just in general, for me personally, I would not build a platform for my rack again. Deadlift platform, that's a completely different story. I will always have a deadlift platform. I love this thing. It's 2 layers of 4x8 OSB underneath a layer of horse stall mat. I've got my Titan Fitness band pegs on there. Took off the back ones just because I don't need them anymore really with the front leg extensions right there. If I do any kind of band work, I can just loop a band here, throw a band peg there, and go right there. But no, a platform under my rack is something that I will never do again, just because of it's not necessary, really. The reason that I did it in the first place was because our gym was so small. We just started out with basically just a rack and a bar and a bench. We started out like that, and I was deadlifting inside of my rack, which is again part of why I got the 41-inch depth instead of like a 30-inch depth, was because I wanted that extra space so that I could deadlift inside of the rack. But now that I'm not doing that anymore and I have a dedicated platform, the platform under my rack just is not useful anymore. And like I said, the wood is so slick that I can't do a lot of stuff in there. So if I were to do it again, I would just stick to rolled rubber flooring underneath my rack, separate dedicated deadlift platform, and that's how I would personally do it. All of the flooring in the gym is horse stall mat. Whenever we end up moving, I will probably look at getting like some rolled rubber flooring just to make it look a little bit nicer, a little bit cleaner, more polished. But for what it is, the horse mat, whatever you call it, stall mats, they are, and a lot of people will attest to it, the cheapest option and probably the best option that you can find for the price in terms of gym flooring. They're 3/4 inches thick. They come in 4x6 panels, basically. Pretty easy to cut as long as you've got a sharp razor or a sharp blade. And yeah, they work great. I love them. They're easy to clean, and they just work. They might have a little bit of a smell at first, but usually if you just leave them outside, let them off gas for a couple days, it'll go away. Lay them out in the sun, wash them off, let them dry. Usually goes away pretty quick. So yeah, the only other thing I can think of is my bench. Currently, this guy is the Rep Fitness AB 4100 bench. Flat, incline, no decline. We never do declines, so we never needed it. Reason that we have this, we originally had the AB 5000 zero gap bench, kind of their first version of that. That thing was so freaking heavy, and I talked about it. I did a review video on it, comparing it lightly to this bench when we first got this one in. About 2 years later, whatever it may be, safe to say that this bench has still been worth it. I absolutely love this bench. It is extremely light, yet very, very sturdy. We've never had an issue with it. The only minor complaint, I guess you could say, is the angle of adjustment on the seat pad. It only goes from 0 to 15 degrees and then to 30 degrees. I wish that it had one more, been very tempted at some time to cut off a little notch right here so that it can go up like a little bit more. I wish that it went up to 45 degrees like their 5000 series bench, but that's a relatively minor complaint. Overall, the pad is held up great. The bench itself is amazing. It's compact enough to where it can be easily moved around the gym in tight spaces. It's light enough for both myself and my wife to move it without any issue. Comes in a nice fancy white color to kind of go with my theme of black and white in the gym. And yeah, we just really like that bench. I might be replacing it sometime in the future, like I said, with the Prime Fitness Shorty bench so that I can kind of, again, minimize my equipment in here, get rid of the incline or get rid of the military press bench, get rid of that one and replace them with just a single bench. Would be nice to kind of save some space. For now though, that's a great one. We've never had any issues with the gap or anything like that. So yeah, that is a tour of the gym. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed. Like I said, if there's anything I did not cover, if there's anything I missed, let me know. Or if there's anything that I just kind of glanced over that you want to know more about, let me know down below in the comment section. But for now, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys watched the entire thing and stuck through to the end, I'm sure this has been like a 45-minute, almost an hour-long video. So you guys are the real ones. You are amazing. But yeah, maybe I'll go in real quick and grab my wife's phone so you can see this setup. I'll put a clip here at the end of exactly how I'm recording this. So yeah, overall though, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Again, affiliate links, discount codes, everything will be down below in the description if you want to get any of this stuff yourself. I have links to almost everything in here, minus like the Cybex, the hoist stuff, the Troy, the more commercial equipment. Pretty much everything else I have an affiliate link for or a discount code for. So you can check those out down below. You can check those out down below in the description. But yeah, thank you guys again for watching. And hopefully I will be doing a couple review videos that I've been working on in the next couple weeks. So my goal right now, knock on wood, wherever it may be, you can't see that. But my goal right now is to do like one kind of vloggy style diet update video a week. You guys may have already seen that or may have saw the notification of it. And then one review video a week. So kind of like 2 videos a week, maybe like on a Monday, Friday basis or something. I don't know. We'll see. See what the analytics like best and kind of adjust my days accordingly. But for now, that is kind of my goal. And then if you want more content, more information, you can always follow me over on Instagram especially. I do very regular posts, especially on my story over there, talking about a lot of this stuff, showing different setups, different variations, different things, stuff, all that kind of cool stuff. But for now, I'm going to stop rambling. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you again for watching. And let me grab my wife's phone so you can see this whole setup, because it is trippy. For any of you guys that do any kind of tech stuff, this is cool. I don't know why I've never used this before, but I'll be right back. Okay, so got my wife's camera here, so I'll try and throw like a POV up of what is happening, but you can see how this guy is just following me everywhere. So this is cool. I really like this setup. I'm probably going to be using this more often. Yeah, I don't know. I've got my Ronin, DJI Ronin S gimbal with my camera on there, just a basic 16-35 lens, and then my phone up top. So the phone is using the DJI's active track system to follow me around. And yeah, it works pretty damn well. All right, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.